All right. So you were COVID. So we flashed back to 2018 when you were home, but you came back in 2020.
Yeah, and started working with the clinic and really just putting that internship into work finally, because that was my first position or first kind of work in marketing after doing this internship and realizing that this is what I want to do, because in doing the internship I obviously talked to my mom about how things were going, and she'd be like, "You're so good at this, you should come and work for me." And she took a chance on me, and I was able to just really start building and working on my voice as a marketer, as opposed to just writing articles, because in school you're doing a lot of writing articles for editorials, and there was a lot of political news. I started in 2015, so 2016, we know it was that time. It was that time, and I was rebelling a little bit and writing about culture and writing about fashion and writing about plus size clothing.
Love culture journalism.
And I would try to always represent Jamaica. At any time I could, I would try and talk about cultural impacts. And we had a club on campus, and a Caribbean student club, and I always tried to highlight them and everything. So I was rebellious in that way, and so coming back, and now that I'm doing marketing, I can be fun and I can be witty. I don't have to just stick to the tenets of news journalism and all of that, and just I felt free in a lot of ways and validated. Like, yes, I want to be a writer, but I'm not just writing what other people want or just writing serious, boring things. Like, I can really express myself.
What do I want to read when I'm not working? What do I like to read?
And just telling stories in a different way, because when I wanted to be a writer when I was younger, I was writing stories and poems. Some of my friends from high school.
You can still do that, by the way.
But in high school, I used to write stories in notebooks and pass them around to my friends. So there was we had a little book club of Kian's quirky stories.
Oh, that's so fun!
It was fun. It was a good time.
You should definitely if you got to a point where the friends were reading it, then you need to start writing again. You need to just have a little notes, a little doc that you just jot. I
do have some of those stories. One of my projects when I calm down again, I'm gonna try and redo some of my stories.
Enter some contests. There's the Commonwealth. So I recently interviewed Kwame McPherson, and he won the Commonwealth prize, which is for the entire Commonwealth. But it's short stories. I think they have it for poetry as well. But just see what's out there.
I did enter a writing competition. I think it was 2020. One of the first ways that I expressed how I was feeling about this weird transition. After COVID, after graduation, I was expecting to get my job and to start my career and to start my relationships and all of that stuff. And I wrote an article, a personal essay about just my transition and coming back and starting over and getting to a point in the pandemic where I was like, okay, so I'm being forced to take this downtime again. I took downtime before I migrated. I'm taking downtime again. So I was like, maybe I can work on myself. So I started exercising again and journaling and just trying to do this wellness thing, and it was necessary because I had never slowed down from I left Jamaica. I was just doing school, just trying to level up and everything.
Not you being the stereotypical Jamaican.
Properly.
Going so hard.
Properly.
Two jobs. And doing all the school.
Didn't even realize.
You don't realize you just fall into
just
it.
Going.
We have things to do.
Jamaicans are hustlers.
We are.
Jamaicans are hustlers.
We're just trying to make it.
We're just trying to make it. I don't know. There's something about the Jamaican spirit. We're such doers. And I always say Jamaicans are resourceful. Like, we make it work and we do it. But I was victim to that. I was victim to the hard God and done mentality. Like,
that's the only way.
That's the only way.
Go hard or go home.
Go hard or go home.
And it was literally or go home.
Or go home. Here I am. So I don't know. So maybe I'm cycling back. So now I'm home and then I go hard.
Yeah. Okay, so you're home, but you go back. What happened?
Oh gosh.
What happened?
Yeah. So I came home in 2020 and I spent a year. I was doing copy for the clinic. I was writing articles in the Glino for the clinic, and there was a point where had to handle some business, some serious. There's a lot of loose ends that comes with being in a transitory space of migrating.
Yeah.
And it just came to a point where mommy called me and said, business time.
Yeah.
We gave you the time to go and explore, and you didn't like fall into a big career or anything, so maybe you have to come back and try it again. We have to finish out what you have to finish out. So I packed up myself in 2021, and luckily again, school Stony Brook said, we're gonna give you guys an in-person graduation. So I was like, wow, I finally get to have my graduation a year later. Maybe I'll feel better. Maybe I need the ceremony to kickstart my life.
Like closure.
Yeah, closure something. Maybe it just needed the fanfare to be like, oh, it's time to start. Life's gonna start now. So I went back, graduation, and then my goal was time to find the job. Time to find the New York girl job, the city girl job. I said, I'm a journalist, I'm a marketer. I gotta be in the city. I gotta get my power suit and hop on the train and all of that. And I was rigorously interviewing non-stop for a year straight, getting no responses, getting told that I'm overqualified, getting told that they just decided that they're not hiring in this position anymore. The budget for this department is, so we're just scrapping it, and just a year straight of that. And
post-COVID job market, even to this day, treacherous.
Yeah, and for the industry that I wanted to be in as well, like a lot of companies were downsizing their marketing department. Marketing is always the first department to get cut. And this is now me. I decided this is what I want to do. What do I do? Where do I go? And so I fell into a very deep depression. And eventually my sister again said, I think we have to go to therapy. I think we have to talk to somebody. I think, as you try and figure this out, you also have to work on your mental, on your well-being. So had to cycle back to that euphoric, let me work on myself in 2020. And started therapy, and it was the best thing that ever happened. It was my first time going to proper structured therapy, and I learned coping mechanisms, and that's when I learned how much pressure I put on myself, how much my life has been so structured all these years, and it's the lack of structure that is making me feel crazy. I'm not crazy. It's the upheaval in my life, and then just being able just to have that space with a non-biased person, somebody who doesn't know me, to just talk and then get honest feedback and ideas. Funny enough, my therapist was one of the first people to say, I think you want to go back home. I don't think you want to be here.
So interesting.
Yeah. And I remember
when they said it, did it feel like I thought like, did it feel right?
She flicked it up from the back of my head. She flicked it up, and I think part of me was probably suppressing it, like no, I had to come back, I have to finish out. The guilt again,
like you feel like you owe it to everyone to be here to
and in the first cycle of me going home, everybody, a lot of my grandma, uncles, aunts, everybody was like, Kian, you really going back after you go school and you try so hard? What are you gonna do in Jamaica? You soon come back, man. It's alright, we soon see you. And so there was a lot of that, and I guess I took it on, and I said, wow, they're right. I can't give it up. I think I did say to my therapist, it's a part of our culture. People fight for this. People give up their whole life and family and everything to come to wherever in the States, in Canada. Is that am I so privileged? Am I so privileged that I'm giving up this hard thought thing? And she was like, you have to think about yourself. You have to think about yourself. You have to think about how you feel. Look at how you break down in front of me when I just mentioned it. It's been on your mind, and I was like, wow, I think I do want to go home. It's scary again, but I've been in this process trying to start. Every time I go to New York, I have to start over. Every single time I have to try a new approach, and I was getting to a point where, wow, it's just not working for me. I can't make it work. And then started with my sister first. I said, Keisha, I think I want to go home. And she's like, I know. I know. It's okay. This is not your place. You're not happy here. Felt validated.
Obsessed. I've never met you, Keisha, but obsessed. I like how you just tell her what she needs at the right time. Love that.
That's my girl. Yeah. That's my girl. My sister has always been able to see me. She sees right through me.
That can be uncomfortable sometimes, but it's so important to have those people. Yeah.
But she was like, yeah, I know. And so when I first dragon slayed, I have her in my corner now.
Right. So
I can go to boss lady. Go to boss lady, and I said, boss lady, mommy, think I want to go home.
Right.
She was like, okay. Why? And I told her honestly, my mental moment.
Yeah.
I say, you see me. You hear me interviewing. I tell you how it go. I tell you how great I think it went. I tell you I'm doing working interviews. I do presentations. I meet these.
Nobody talks about that. It's a whole job to prepare, and then you don't know if sometimes they can use
I've gone through multiple 3 and 4 step interviews.
Oh my goodness.
Where I have to create presentations on a topic. You have to do the work.
Job.
They call it working interviews. They call them working interviews.
Yeah.
And so I told her that like I'm feeling so discouraged, and I know I don't want you guys to think that I'm just going home to just go sit down and be comfortable and go party and go hang out with my friends. Like, yes, there was part of that. I'm a young person.
Right.
I have my friends, you know. At that point I was very lonely as well. Like in therapy we were trying to find meetup apps and volunteering and clubs and all these things that I could do as an adult, and just wasn't finding any luck with that. Just all the avenues that I was trying, it just wasn't working. The only thing left in the States was to go to another state. But could I really in that state pack up and go to another state
without anybody?
At
least you had your grandmother.
I had my grandma, I had my sister. For a while I had mommy. She was staying with us for a little while. And so I had a support system there, and I still couldn't feel like it was going to happen. I was under this tremendous amount of mental pressure and stress and just not doing well. And eventually mommy said, what's your plan? And I had to give her a plan. If I gave her a PowerPoint, I think she would have been happy. I think she would have been even happier. But we sat down and we talked it out. You know, if I was going to be doing more work at the clinic, if I was going to be freelancing. We were just going through each other's networks. Who do we know? Who can we call? So I had to convince her, and she had to convince herself. But eventually she said, you know, I want you to be okay. I want you to be okay, and I can tell that you're not okay.
Miss Heather.
Yeah, and then she said, if you're gonna be in my house, you're gonna start you have to be able to pay the bills in there. You're gonna have to be, how you're going to get around, how you're going to feed yourself, how you're going to do all of these things. So she was very good at keeping me focused and the real part. She's always been good at that, like being a realist. Like, she hear your dreams, and then she said, okay, good, but how are we going to make it work? How are we going to make sure that you don't go and be worse off? You know, because COVID still, I'm obviously finding jobs. I have very little in my savings left because I had to take care of myself while I was unemployed. And she said, just make us see. All right, we'll make us see.
Okay.
And then eventually I started getting interviews. I started looking at places in Jamaica, applying, started getting interviews for places in Jamaica. And I was like, see, all I had to do was say it. All I had to do was say it. And eventually November 2022, November 2022, I came back. And I said, all right, let's start working. Was freelancing for a little while and still trying to apply. I was applying to different places. I took the same approach that I was doing in New York, applying to different ranges of jobs. Like I have my sales experience, I have my retail experience, but I have my marketing internship experience. I had a couple just internships under my belt, and so I wasn't trying to limit myself in that way. And it was looking like same roadblock again. 6 months in the line, I'm just like, wow, what am I going to do? And then it wasn't until one of my really close friends, Tiana Chung, big up herself, Tiana said, I'm actually starting my marketing agency. Like she's been doing it on her own, content creation, Wanga Girl.
Yes.
Big up Wanga.
Follow you on Twitter.
Big up Wanga Girl.
Yeah, great reviews.
Oh, that's my girl. And she said, you know, I've been doing it on my own, but I'm trying to start this agency. And she said, you know, pull up.
Yeah.
And another person who took a chance on me, and I've been with her. I've been with her since we do shoots together, and so just developing this creative part of me more, and just since I've graduated, every day that I do some kind of work, I'm like, wow, I'm using my degree, I'm using my skills, I'm doing the thing, and it is what I wanted to do, and so Tiana pulled me up under her wing for another couple months, and we work and go through. And I'm still applying because I want to do something full time, you know. And I go through another cycle of interviews, and then I get hired full time to do social media marketing, and I'm here today. That was in December. So from November 2022, just, you know, slowly building, slowly growing, and then December 2023, I got hired for a full time job. So another year.
A whole year
of just really applying myself. I told everybody that I wanted to come home. I want to make it work. I think I'm supposed to be out here. I really think it might be New York, or America, whatever it was. But however it chopped, I'm supposed to be back in New York, in Jamaica. And so far, taking that bet on myself was the best move that I made in a while. Like, I feel so much better all around. Like, I looked at myself, how when I was in New York working out every day, I was still looking puffy, still looking stressed out, looking pale and dull, and just skin was looking
looks different. It's different. How does it do that?
The air in New York especially is highly polluted. They cut down their trees to build buildings. The car culture, it's a lot of just exhaust. It's not good for you. It's not good. It's not healthy. It's not healthy, but and now I'm back. I'm doing the kind of work that I always saw myself doing, creative work. And it's not just I'm just, you know, running around, going out. I see the impact in just the companies that I work with and work for, and it's so validating. Just like opening up your phone or going on the road, and you're like, I did that. I was a part of that. Like my team, the team popped off, and it's just I'm every day I'm like, I'm really glad that I pulled it out of me and said I have to go home. I have to go home.
And you know what I love too with everything that you said? I love that you said it was a year before you got that like full-time job, but in that time you were applying yourself, because lots of people come home and they think, well, it's like a reverse fairy tale. It's like, I'm coming home, it's going to be great, and automatically. But you still have to put in the work. You're starting over essentially, but you want to be here, so you're putting in the work, putting your shoulder to the wheel, and here we are.
And I'm not trying to make it sound like every day I wake up and I did it. I did the hard work every day. 6:45, I'm on my Zoom, applying and making hard. It was a long time before I was able to like go around and hand out my resume. Something that I did, like I printed out my resume and I said, Kian, go give it to people. And I walk around struggling.
You hear that, people? In 2022, 2023, she was doing that. In the age of DMs and emails. And we're not too proud to do what we need to do. No. Okay, people?
And there is a sense of pride that you really have to overcome. And you don't realize that you're being prideful, and you don't realize that because to me, I'll be honest and say, I felt like I was begging. I felt like I was begging because here's my resume, here's my experience here.
And you know they might just throw it in the trash. Like
sometimes they don't ever see it.
They don't even take it.
And when you're applying to LinkedIn and Indeed, it is going into the trash.
It is.
And another thing that I know saved me, you're not going to like these people, you have to write your cover letters.
And tailor them.
It is what made the difference in the end. It is I figuring out exactly where I wanted to be, the type of companies that I wanted to work for, because it was a lot of writing lists like, I want to work here, these are types of hours, this is the work environment, and finding the companies that match it up. Cover letters and making them different, and I was very anti cover letter. Like I send you my resume, I fill out the form, and the form is what's on my resume, and you still want me to write a cover letter. I'm begging, but it's not begging, it's another opportunity to sell yourself. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Don't shoot the messenger.
I'm sorry, but I learned that the hard way, because as soon as I changed my approach, and I was like, cover letters for everything, tailored cover letters. I redid my resume, everything. I sat down and I just did it over. I changed the scope. I kept it to Jamaica. I stopped applying to places in America. I stopped, and I said I'm moving back to Jamaica. I'm going to put my full focus here.
Well, that's a big one, because the temptation can be there. It's like I can't do that.
There was a
especially
point
when we're talking about US dollars.
Yeah.
Like,
there was a point where it's like, should I try Miami?
Yeah.
Should I do Florida? Like, is that the compromise? I can, if I need to go back and forth for comfort, there's there. But I said no. Let me keep my mind in Jamaica and do it properly. And I was cold emailing, cold calling. Like when I had my list, I wrote my cover letter, my new resume, and I sent it out.
Wow.
And that is when I started getting responses.
Wow.
And that, I think from October, another person to big up, since we're bigging up people, Ashley Nesbeth.
Yeah?
Ashley, we were hanging out one day and she pulled me aside and said, Kian, you have fallen off.
Oh my God.
She said,
that's rough, Ashley. I know you, but
but I needed
with
it.
love.
And she said, you told me that this was your plan. You told me that you're gonna do this and this and this. It's October.
You know what? We need friends to draw us up.
Yeah.
We need friends to say, girl, what you doing?
She draw me up properly. And that October, it was October 14th. Why don't know? Because we went to a party. And it was after the party, after the euphoria. She pulled me aside and said, girl. She said, girl, I know we just had the time of our lives, but let me pull you back. And that October, I crunched it. And December, I started my new job in December.
It's amazing. It's incredible.
It's crazy. It sound highfalutin. It is intention.
It's intention. It's about setting intention. It's about pulling away from the US market. It's about putting everything, redoing those documents. Like, it's intention.
Making sure that the correct
really
number.
Everything into
something as simple as my US number was still on the resumes.
Okay. Just making sure they call it. So really committing to being out here and doing everything out here. Yeah.
And not trying to keep one foot in New York for out of fear. Yeah. Because it is out of fear.
It is out of fear.
It's like I tell everybody, I'm moving back, I'm gonna do it. But what if it still doesn't happen?
Right.
But from I say, no, this is what I said. Yeah. This is what I said and this is what I want. And I went to work. I went to work for the first, it was the first time since I moved back, and I came back into myself and, look around and I said I wanted to come back in Jamaica. I'm in Jamaica. I said I wanted to live somewhere on my own. I live on my own. I said I wanted space to do content when I have the content and I got it. So now I have to turn on and I have to fill in the gaps. I have the environment. It's really just me now. Oh. And so I did it. I plugged in and it paid off. It paid off. So and I'm still, it's February now, and so I'm still like, I can't believe I did that. Yeah. And my new fear is it gonna get taken away from me? Am I gonna lose it now that I get everything? And because it really is everything. Yeah. I looked at my journal and I was like,
it's everything.
It's everything.
No one knows. It's not gonna get taken away.
Yeah.
It's always just gonna get better, even if one opportunity goes away, another will come up, because you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, and it's allowing myself to be like, you did that.
Yes. And basking it a little bit, because sometimes we feel like when we're on the go and we're trying to achieve, we can't enjoy it.
Because I still have to fix it up. I still have to make sure that it is firm and stable and real. Right. And real and all of that. And but as I you know, as I continue working at this new job, I now have to make sure that I stop and look around and be like, good job.
Yes.
Good job, and just thank you to myself for keep going.
Yes.
Thank you to the universe and everybody.
Yes.
And I had to call my mom the other day and be like, thanks for not giving up on me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I, you know, like, that I slacked off. Because after Ashley draped me up, I said, wow, I really did slack. It's October. Yeah. It's October. And
but it's hard because it can be exhausting too, right? The job search, the you're happy to be here, but it's still not where you want to be.
And
so
not only that, another thing that I'm still working through is I was living with my sister and my grandma.
So
I'm living on my own. Even when I was in college, I had roommates. There was a suite it was 6 of us in a suite. So there's always somebody around.
Yeah.
I'm here now. I have a whole day of work on the road and come home and the garbage is still there because I did not take it out.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of adjustments on different levels that I have to give myself. All the grace that people have given me, I need to give it to myself, and I'm not good at that.
Yeah.
I'll admit I'm not good at that.
But you'll get mental.
Yeah, because I'm actually, now it's the awareness, it starts there.
That's where it is. Yeah.
You have to say, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
And then start doing it.
Yeah.
It's
that's real.
It feels silly when you say these things, but that is...
You have to have the conversations with yourself.
You have to talk to yourself. You have to talk to yourself. And I've always been good at talking to myself.
Yeah. My dad would say that's the only way to get a sensible answer around here.
It is. Who knows you better than you?
That's so
Who knows how to make sense of the crazy thoughts better than you?
True.
So I'm getting better at not just, you know, even if it is an anxious thought, it has to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
So give it the space. I'm learning not to dwell. And then learning what I need to learn from it, and just doing what I have to do. And yeah, every day is a day.
Yeah.
Every day is a day.
Right.
Yeah.
Fact. All right, so we're coming to the close of this. I think we've learned a lot about like guilt and self-forgiveness and self-awareness and like believing in yourself and like
believing in yourself,
taking the plunge when you really want something, like putting all your effort into it and setting the intention. I think we've learned a lot about that today. So I want to ask you what one of your favorite pieces of work, even if it was in college, like if there was a piece of copy you wrote or a particular post that had like so much engagement, like it surprised you, like do you have a favorite piece of creative work that you've done?
My all-time favorite thing that I've written, whatever, it was a college piece, and it was one of the first times that I said, everyone is writing about what they want to write about. The guys are writing about sports every week. Every week the guys are writing about baseball. Every week they're writing about video games. I'm going to write about the fact that I live on Long Island and I struggle to buy clothes because the market is not tailored to plus size black women. And so one of the projects was to do, I think it was for the same extended class where you had to do multimedia. I wrote an article called, I think it was Long Island Struggles to Cater to Plus Size Women.
Yeah.
And I wrote about the stores in the closest mall to school, Smith Haven Mall. It was difficult to do shopping, and I interviewed girls from school, and that's when I realized, well, I'm not the only person who feels this way. Other people are feeling like this. And so it had an accompanying video, and I reached out to this really popular plus size influencer on Long Island, who's her name, Megan O'Connor, and we did a great video. She took me around the mall and she told me about, you know, she said a really good line that she said was, girls are caught up in the size of things when they just need to focus on how it fits you. And that's
so true.
That's so true for anyone. So true for anyone. It doesn't matter. You have to dress for yourself, your body shape, your body type.
And literally the excess, if you are extra small, the extra small could be huge on you. It runs different from brand to brand, or you know, you depending on the cut of store,
it's the cut and all of these things. And so I got to give all of these girls a space to talk, but something that I noticed, I will take credit for this. So after the article came out, it got picked up in the school newspaper and everything. The school newspaper gets circulated at the mall. Old Navy changed the structure of their store. They changed the plus size section was visible. It was bigger. They had plus size mannequins. Whether they plan to do it, it doesn't matter. the timing was my article came out,
and
then it got it because first we posted it for that class website, and then someone from the school newspaper was like, we're gonna publish this in the first edition, and then I noticed that it was at school, and then I went to Old Navy because what the picture that I used for that, I on the rack there was small, medium, large, like multiple of every size, and there was one double XL, and so the picture was just the double XL in the back in all of these, and then I went back to Old Navy the couple weeks after, giant plus size section.
I love that.
So I take credit for it.
Yes,
and I've always felt really proud of that because it was one of the first instances of
change.
And just me thinking that this is a good idea, can run with it, and it. Even if it didn't have that impact, it was a good piece of work. It was important. There was no one at school writing about things like that. Even the culture and entertainment people, it could be very surface level.
Right.
And then there was a small cohort of us that would try and do journalism, impactful journalism, as opposed to just going to school.
Right.
It mattered to a lot of us, and that was really awesome. And then I became known as, if you want a culture piece, Kian write it for you, and it was great. It was great.
Yeah, and I mean it. That's my favorite type of journalism to write. It's just stuff about culture, and those are the pieces from people who have genuine curiosity and genuine, like, the news is just the news, but when you write, I think you do the work to ask the questions about culture and what's happening.
And communities, and just figuring out how people are doing life these days.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure we all, or not we all, but people, you have your preconceived notions of what life is like, whether it's your experiences or people you know. But there are people doing some different, unique, crazy things out there. And even just in the fashion world that I like to talk about, just the way that women and queer people are presenting themselves as plus size bodies, and not just wearing whatever they want to wear, and just being so expressive with colors, because I know that was a tangent, but
no, you're fine. And that's desirable bodies too, and but no, it's important to say.
That's my passion in life. I'm now a person that I wear what I want, and I wear what I have. So
thank you.
That was good,
and we love it. So before we go, I would like you to share 3 tips for anybody who wants to go back home, wherever home is. 3 tips for repatriation, and tell them to the camera. Okay,
so the first tip, you have to be honest with yourself. Have an honest conversation. Like, yes, you have this desire to go back, but is it based in reality? Is it a pipe dream? There might have been a reason you left in the first place. You have to do a whole evaluation of this, and if you, at the end of the evaluation, you write your pros and cons list and you decide you're going, go for it. Like, once you've set your mind up, allow yourself to explore, allow yourself to do it. Another tip is, don't do it alone if you can, and you don't have to have family. You know, family is difficult for a lot of people, but engage your system, your family, your network, people you went to school with, especially when you're coming back. You went to school for a reason. Talk to those people. Those are the people working right now. Those are the people living. You can get an accurate, look at how life is currently, because you've been away, and your perception might not be 100%. And third, do as much planning as you can. Where you're gonna live, or do you have family to live with? All of those things, and be intentional and give yourself the grace and do it. Go through with it. Bet on yourself.
Amen. Bet on yourself.
Bet on yourself.
Okay, thank you so much, Kian, for everything. Like, you dropped gems today. I think that you really gave us like real examples of how you bet on yourself and how you follow through and you make things happen, and how you can fight to get where you want and what you want, where you want to be. So with that, I am gonna thank you all for watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, comment in the prompts below if you have a comment on it, and we'll see you next time on Repat Stories. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.